GD here to Olympus. Hopefully you can hear me just fine. Switched out the mic, so it should be a little bit better than it was before.
Presented by Aramco. I am not Tom Deacon.
And here we go.
I'm Gallagher, and I'm filling in for Tom, who's on some other business. Now, the last event had a lot of action, a lot of drama, a lot of overtakes, but I feel like yesterday may have topped it.
Yeah, Blakely invalidated his laps in Q3, so he's starting 10th.
Is underway. Rasmussen leading from the front. Moreno all the way around the outside into Stowe. What a fantastic move. Rasmussen to the outside and will take his
Should be an interesting race. Jarno P14, I think, is going to be starting this race. Yeah, Jarno was 3/10 up in quali, but lost a rear in the last corner. Yeah, that's what happens though. It's not that people are doing poor laps, it's just that make one mistake and then
I'm delighted to introduce
you're punished
my co-host for
badly.
the evening, senior writer and editor for Formula One, Lawrence Barreto. Lawrence, welcome to the show. How does it feel to be in the hot seat at Esports?
No pressure, Matt. Natalie sitting here, I feel like I've got big shoes to fill.
You've got great shoes. I've seen you in the paddock. They're amazing, and the lights are very bright, aren't they? But welcome to Esports. How much have you
Freddie
seen
P2.
of Esports?
So I think it's Knitzer, Freddie,
maybe
Longe P3.
There, but,
apparently
you're
he's
a fan of the gaming side of things.
I don't know if I saw someone that is lap.
Let's just say I was a Mario Kart fan when I was younger.
Actually counted.
I probably haven't excelled to the pro level on the game, but as I said, I gave it a go. Probably didn't complete a lap.
I'm not for driving in esports anymore. Maybe in race pace, potentially in some races you could keep up, but in qualifying it's just you have to be an absolute alien in qualifying. I just don't.
52 pairs.
Amazing.
Qualifying's never been my strength, so.
So of course you followed the
maybe if I
calendar.
could have someone else qualify for me. But
of course,
no.
Formula One has been unbelievable.
Qualifying is such a big thing in esports. That's why I think Blakely or even Barrowman could still win this championship. Because whoever's most consistent in qualifying is usually going to do the best, I think.
There are lots of parallels to compare between the real life and the esports championship. I think the quality of racing in esports, the closeness of the racing is
yeah, Blakely's just got to hold his nerve. He's still got some experience, but last year wasn't a good year for him. So if he can maybe pick up another win or something, maybe a win today. Well, he's starting P10 today, so it's going to be hard. But if he can come out of here as championship leader, that would be a massive, massive thing, I think.
Around the Belgian Grand Prix circuit at Spa. So
I think Rasmussen, he's been P2 top 3 every single time, other than the debut year.
It's rained, Matt. So I've always had some wellies or an umbrella. But it's a phenomenal circuit. I think it's the longest still on the calendar. A real driver challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the alternate strategy, I think everyone's pretty much going to go the alternate strategy. I think starting on softs, it's not like Monza where you could. Everyone's going to pretty much do the alternate strategy. I think. Like if you go on softs, you have to get out the DRS and be in the lead and make a big gap. I think people either go very early undercut for the softs or go super long. I think that's the only two options you could do.
Is underway, and here we go then. Freddie Rasmussen leading from the front, and it seems as though he is leading into turn 1. He is indeed. Barry Burman up to P3, fighting Lucas Blakely, but it is Freddie leading in that amazing looking Red Bull. With Nicholas Longate.
Yeah, the white Red Bull looks insane.
Into turn 3. Who else is making moves? Danny Moreno up to P5. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. Who is falling down the field? Daniele Haddad down to P5.
Yeah, Blakely in the races recently has looked really fast. He just needs to be a bit more punchy. Especially today, starting P10. He needs to either gain point. Yeah, he just needs to gain points in Jarno. That's his only mission today, I think. Pretty much.
Hits already, so they are going for a very aggressive strategy on the soft tyres. Tyre wear not particularly high around this circuit, and Freddie Rasmussen, crucially, nearly a second ahead of Lucas Blakely after those pit stops. Can he break DRS? That would be pretty good for Freddie. Let's take a look at a replay now of Moreno Othmir and how he lost the position on track. And oh, there's a bit of contact with Donoso into Stowe corner. I wonder if the stewards have anything to say about that. Freddie Rasmussen, Lucas Blakely, a lot of the drivers, in fact, into the pits now. It's a very slow pit lane, isn't it?
Yeah, I said it before. If Jarno's consistent in qualifying, he'll win the championship, I think. But he needs to definitely improve the consistency a bit more.
Going defensive from Danny Moreno.
Can't afford to be going out in
Q2.
Q2.
The outside into Stowe. What a fantastic move. Can
Nicholas Longate come back at him?
The answer
3 times,
is
maybe?
no. Danny Moreno, what a fantastic move.
Will he try a move? He's got a lot. He activates his battery. And he's going to have a little look, I think, of Nicholas Longuet, who's also deploying his battery and maybe a little bit faster in a straight line as well as Nicholas. And he can defend quite easily. Moreno doesn't go for the move, but Nicholas does up the inside. Side by side.
Yeah, you could go for a big undercut at Spa, but Spa is...
Surely not. That is not going to work.
I think
for Blakely
it's come up. It's almost like Monza, not as OP as Monza, but really fresh softs at Spa are quite a big difference because the track is just so long. I think it'll be Rasmussen winning.
As we head into Luffield, who's going to come out on top? Surely there's not going to be much space for Kiefer. There isn't. There's all kinds of squirreling going on in the background.
Probably Rasmussen, Tunitsa,
and he's going to look to the inside, then to the out. He's going to try and swing it all the way round the outside. Blakely, surely not. He'll have the inside line for the next corner. And that is a brilliant move from Lucas Blakely, who then finally gets through on Nicholas Longuet.
Yeah, I've out on Q2 a pole for Jarno. Yeah, literally.
Finally, Moreno to the inside.
Takes he just needs to be more. Just a bit. It's so hard though. It's just like make one mistake.
He's decided he wants to lead from the front.
Lucas Blakely is closer than he's ever been, I would say.
I guess.
Down here, is he going to be close enough to make a move?
Oh, Freddie's going to look to the inside instead for the lead. So is he going to get past? No, he's not. Danny Moreno holds.
I don't think it's a good idea to start the softs.
And now Lucas Blakely is smelling an opportunity. Does he look to
unless
the inside?
you're on pole and you get an insane start.
Between the front three, but it looked like Freddie Rasmussen wanted to make the move.
I don't think mediums are quite a decent tyre, but the softs are like they're much more beneficial when there's fresh softs versus old mediums. Whereas if it's both starting off fresh, it's not that beneficial to start on soft.
Close to the Mercedes, but as is Lucas Blakely as well. Here comes Freddie Rasmussen. Will he go for the lead here? Moreno goes to the inside now, and then Rasmussen to the outside with the use of DRS. Just flies all the way round him. Moreno, no defence offered whatsoever, and Lucas Blakely may well try a dive bomb into the final few corners, decides against it. Freddie Rasmussen.
Yeah, you need to build a gap in the softs, but I don't think you'd build a gap in the softs unless you get an insane start. So either the person on pole or second needs to use softs. Other than that, it's not really worth it in my opinion. You either got to go for a super big undercut, or you've got to go for very, very long into the race. So Jarno, I reckon he'll go super long, I think.
Well, thank you very much,
He's good at pace on the mediums. He's very, very good at mediums, so I reckon he'll go super long.
The winner of that race at Silverstone, and I believe I'm being told now there was a timing error. So in fact, as Matt was alluding to, that Lucas Blakely finished P2. He doesn't. It's Danny Moreno who finishes P2. So he did look disappointed, didn't he, James? But you know what? At the end of the day,
because it's just broadcast more an hour.
18 points for him. David Tunitsa down in 10th.
I think it's just to do with TV and stuff as well. I think they just have to do it for certain time periods.
That was quite a nice little thing to hear from him. Lawrence, Silverstone was incredible.
The drivers right now, to give you a bit of an insight, the drivers are probably in the lobby right now just waiting, because sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes they're sitting in the lobby for like half an hour, and they have to be in the lobby. They can't practice or anything. So
when he was cutting back.
Yeah, it's
what I was really impressed with
can be quite annoying.
There's so much action in that race. Silverstone, ever since they changed the layout, they moved the start-finish.
I think it's just TV rights. I think they just have to do
multiple corners, and what I was loving in that race is there was lots of guys always kind of chasing each other. You got moved down; it wasn't complete.
So what have you noticed that you can kind of compare between the real drivers and the esports drivers in terms of, because mentality is something we've spoken about a lot, you know, the fact that they have to prepare not just physically and, you know, putting in laps, but also the mental side as well.
You can see the amount of pressure that it puts on these guys, and they're taking it super seriously, and I think you can draw synonyms between that and the real world. The amount of training.
What's everyone's predictions for the race?
They put in on the game.
Yeah, I'm going to say Rasmussen.
It's not exactly the same, of course, it's not real life, but it is as close as you can get in the virtual world. And you can see when someone wins, generally speaking, maybe not earlier to date, you can see how much it means to them to win, and I think that's what's the most impressive.
Now let's take a look at the Moreno overtake and what went on there, because this was on lap 6 of 18, going side by side into Stowe Corner. This was unbelievable.
Yeah, I was engineered last year for Sauber with Jarno
all the way round
when he won the championship, and then in Renault the year before and
getting that psychological kind of feeling.
And then I was a driver myself in 2018.
Put my statement of intent, because I know Danny didn't win.
Been on both sides of the coin.
Finishing P2, I know there's a little timing glitch in there, but it was still.
The drivers are probably sitting in the lobby right now, I reckon. Probably.
Yeah, I think overtaking around the outside.
I'd say normally the race will probably start at 8,
so never an easy thing. And throughout that race,
yeah,
Danny looked really strong. He looked like he was
depends.
after
I think
it, and it was
might be a bit later.
Kind of worked out that he did.
They probably are getting the lobby ready right now.
In the end,
so you have to go into it about 20 minutes before the race starts.
So he continues to do that for the rest of the season.
It's pretty difficult to just go into the lobby and then just switch it on for the race with no practice,
and we've got a move
no
from
warm-up.
Lucas Blakely as well that we can take a look at, and this was lap 10. Following Nicholas Longay, and he's going to go all the way around the outside. He tries it up the inside. He thinks, you know what, I'll go all the way around the outside, which gets him the inside line for the next corner. Lucas,
when he was punchy there, that worked. He just needed to be the same on Moreno, but I guess he doesn't want to get damaged or
pretty much began. But finally, this
blow his
season,
championship.
he's somehow clicked everything, and it's working so well for him. And we saw in qualifying early today as well, there was a lot of pressure on him, and he still managed to perform. How is it that, you know, he's clicked so well? Is it that mental side of things that you think that this really helps to improve performance?
Well, firstly, on that move, what I really liked is he would have set that up several corners before, so it's always thinking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the race might start
immediately, and I think when you're thinking,
trying to think back, the schedule might have changed, but before it'd be like maybe 20 past 8 is when the race would get going.
Confidence comes from experience,
so that'd be still 40 minutes time. So they'll probably talk over a few more races before this. We'll probably talk over the Monza race again. So I reckon probably 20 past 8, so another 20, 30 to 40 minutes. So right now, they might be practicing now, but normally about 20, 25 minutes before the race starts, they'll have to go into the lobby.
You've got used to the way that Formula 1 works, and I guess the more time you spend doing your trade, you're just going to get better and better.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to leave you there, Lawrence, because I'm going to speak to someone that was in part of the show yesterday.
Go for it.
Now, James Baldwin. He was part of the F1 Esports series before, and we've got him once again on the touchscreen. James, thank you firstly for accepting our calls.
My pleasure.
Coming back again. You've got some Silverstone talking points for us, because there was a lot that went on that we weren't really able to digest yesterday.
Exactly, and it's always nice to look through things in depth. What we got first then, so...
I swear, James Baldwin, he really reminds me of Jenson Button so much, the way he talks.
At this point, what is he, about 3.5 temps going onto the hangar straight. He's using all of his overtake, his ERS, you can see there in the bottom right-hand corner. He chooses halfway down the straight to stop using it, so he doesn't want to overtake. So clearly, he doesn't want to overtake on the penultimate lap. He's saving it for that final lap. On the last lap, lap 18, he's closer, first of all. If you look on the exit,
no, the upcoming races, the Spa race tonight is live.
It's a micro mistake, but he gets the rear out. That costs him a little bit of time down the hangar straight. Freddie's got loads of battery. He's going to use it down the whole straight, as opposed to stopping halfway down it. It's an easy overtake.
So with that, of course, the energy battle is something we've seen throughout, pretty much. It's always about trying to save just a % here or there during the race. And, of course, when it's that train as well, it's just always about trying to hold back at the right times and then attacking right at the end like we saw with Freddie.
Exactly. You know, Danny had a bit of battery, but the micro mistake, Freddie was closer anyway. It was inevitable, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So is this something we're going to see throughout every single race that we have on the calendar
on the previous game, you could overtake on the penultimate lap because the Dirty was stronger, but in this game, the Dirty is not as strong.
Is the energy deployment going to be even more important at a track like that compared to maybe a more tight and twisty circuit?
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, that's what it comes down to. Who's got the most battery? But if you have a better pace, you can afford to save more battery. But there are some scenarios where, like Freddie, you know, sometimes he pulls away and he's got the gap. You know, it depends. If there's a train, though, it always comes down to the battery.
So I guess the final question from me is, if Danny Moreno didn't drop a wheel just slightly onto the grass, would he have gotten away with it and maybe taken the victory?
It would have been closer. It was a micro mistake. It probably didn't cost him that much, but it certainly didn't help him, you know.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, James. After the break, we will be reflecting on the amazing race at the Temple of Speed.
Yeah, the race will probably be in half an hour, probably something like that. Yeah, the commentary's live, but
so we're gonna do the teammate challenge where we are gonna see if we know each other well.
Say your final answer.
For me, it's Jarno.
Final answer? Yeah. I think that's everyone's. I mean.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Final answer, Suzuka. Yeah. I need to think. Wait, don't give me your answer. Let me think. Okay, go.
Inception? Favorite film?
Nope.
Don't know what my favorite film is.
It's just Star Wars.
My favorite series is Breaking Bad.
I just love Star Wars. Well,
wait, it's not. It's.
Don't tell me anything. Don't tell me anything. The thing is, you probably have some secret one that you never shared. The one you listen to always is with us is Sfera or PNL. I want to go PNL.
Yeah, it's PNL.
Yeah.
Okay. French group. He was at school.
Yeah. That's it. I was too young. I would say stay in Switzerland.
No.
No? Or
Japan.
Japan.
Japan's a good shout. Japan's a good shout.
Fun.
Yeah.
All the cars, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Unbeatable.
I would join you. Let's get a place together.
No, I haven't watched a why. Apparently, it's amazing.
Welcome back. Before the break, we saw that Jarno Othmir's strategy didn't pay off for him at Silverstone yesterday, but our reigning champ has carried on his devastating form from last year in 2021's opening races. I was fortunate enough to catch up with him at Mercedes Silver Arrows Lounge last week ahead of Event 2. Let's take a look.
Yeah, they showed all this yesterday.
The moment has arrived for Jarno Othmir, who takes the F1 Esports title of 2020.
Jarno, great to see you. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We're in the beautiful Silver Arrow Lounge, so enjoying myself.
It's not the worst backdrop in the world.
No, it's very nice. A lot of trophies, nice car. So,
speaking of trophies, how has it been becoming an F1 Esports champion? Has life changed?
Yeah, it's very nice, of course. I won the championship. I never got a trophy. I don't know where the trophy went, but it's a bit unfortunate. I never got it. We need to go after that, actually.
You are watching one of the great drives of F1 Esports.
Now let's reflect on China, Jarno. Probably, well, at least from my perspective, the best F1 Esports drive ever. How do you reflect on what was a ridiculously crazy race?
Yeah, it was my best F1 Esports race ever, maybe my best race ever.
Against all the odds, it's 14th to 1st.
It's stunning.
I don't know how he sits so close to the wheel. It's crazy.
Just before the race, I also selected the wets.
Jarno's force feedback, because when we were at Renault together, I tried his wheel, and the force feedback was just...
Is it okay if I start on the
Because I think when he was driving a Formula...
like, are you sure?
Renault, it doesn't have any power steering, so he likes it super tough, and it's just so hard to turn, it's crazy. But if you can get used to it and strong enough, then you can feel every single bump.
And somehow
yeah, his force feedback compared to mine is just a...
After
it's a joke.
3 or 4 laps
crazy.
where the time started to become equal with the wet runners. I, of course, was, I think, 16 seconds behind the leader, but then they need to make the pit stop. And yeah, after a few laps, we knew as well that the tires were going to make it to the end. And then it dried up, which was a bit of a shock. Didn't expect it to dry up. And then I had to get past Denozo again. But yeah, that was not too hard, luckily.
Jarno Othmir is going for it. Extraordinary stuff. Othmir back at the head of the field.
How do you, coming up to events, both physically and mentally prepare yourself for the intense pressure that you have to go through? Because, you look back at the first year of F1 Esports to now, it's changed so much.
Yeah, I feel like the level has increased a lot from 2019 to 2020. Not sure if it was because everyone was driving from home. Maybe they're a bit more comfortable at home than on the live events, but I think everyone has improved.
Where do you pinpoint your particular personal improvement as to why you've stepped it up?
I think it's quite obvious from 2019 to 2020 strategies have improved for me as well, a lot. Now with the help of the engineers in 2021, it has stepped up even more. And I think qualifying from 2019 to 2020 was a big improvement. Very often I was starting P12 in 2019 and to fight my way up to the front, and now I'm starting top 5. It becomes a lot easier to get on the podium or get a win.
You are actually one of the only drivers to have won in 3 different teams, and you're 1 win away from being the all-time record holder for the amount of wins in F1 Esports. Do these kind of records motivate you at all, or do you just kind of think, well, whatever?
I want to set the benchmark, of course. That'll be very cool. I think in the next few years there are going to be lots of records broken. F1 Esports is very new, of course, and even in real life I have one which has been existing for the past 70 years. There's still records broken all the time, so I want to set a benchmark, definitely, yeah.
Absolutely great to hear from Jarno Othmir there, Lawrence. He's actually done some real-life racing in the past, and he's now come to esports because he didn't have enough money, and that's something that a lot of drivers have. Who does he remind you of in the Formula One world as someone who's coming through the ranks and he's won a championship?
Yeah, I think the way that he's been performing from last year into this year, I think the most obvious comparison to make is Lewis Hamilton, and that's not just because he's racing for the same team. I think the way that he's approaching the racing this year, he was talking in that interview about strategy being so important. He was talking about making improvements in qualifying.
Yeah, if Jarno
he's
can,
kind of utilising
I think that's the only area. Like, although he gets poles and stuff as well, if he can be even more consistent every track, then he'll be.
And he's part of the Mercedes team as well, which is a big operation, and clearly
there's someone like Blakely, obviously apart from the Spa qualifying,
the other teams as well. So he's constantly
get in the top 4 or 5. Then
it's not like he can rest on his laurels now that he's part of Mercedes.
But Jarno, he'll have one maybe shaky race for his standards, and then he'll just win the next race. That's normally what he does.
They all kicked on when they joined such a special team, and I feel
I have raised the volume as loud as it can go.
He'll kick on as well. They've got great people there. They want him to win, so they're going to push him, and he's going to want to leave no stone unturned, do all the research, just like Lewis does, to try and make himself the best possible driver.
Yes. How do you kind of push that pressure away? You know, of course, they're on social media all the time. Jarno Othmir has, in his own right, transcended his own profile, and lots of people watch him stream, and he has become like a bit of a mini celebrity in the world of, you know, Formula One. So how does he kind of not get distracted by all of that and also focus on winning another title?
Well, I'm always amazed, actually, at the drivers on the grids who don't ever seem to be bothered by social media or what's in the papers or what's in the news. The first thing is obviously experience, you get used to it, but on the second thing, you're there because you want to win. And so
I think some people are trolling
you've just
about the volume thing.
Everything else, and it's not just social media, it's literally
or just turn it up when you're
out of the window and focus on what you're doing, and it seems like he's doing a great job doing that.
I'm going to turn down.
Up next, time to check out how yesterday's race at Monza played out. Just before we do, though, a man familiar with success at the Temple of Speed had a message for his teammates taking part.
Hey guys, it's Pierre here. You might have noticed I won in Monza, my first F1 victory, and I saw it's coming up in the Pro Championship, so go get there. I hope you get the win, and I hope you guys perform for the teams with the AlphaTauri, and we'll be supporting. So all the best, and I hope to see you on the podium.
Amazing stuff to hear from Pierre Gasly. Of course, had that incredible victory at Monza, which I'm sure still lives very, very fresh in the brain for him.
Yeah, it was chaos that day. I was there, lucky enough to be there, and it wasn't just his AlphaTauri team who were happy for him. It wasn't just Red Bull. It was everyone in the paddock. They were going into the motorhome to congratulate him. Proper fever, because he's a nice guy. People like him, and they, you know, felt that he didn't get his chance at Red Bull.
Got that opportunity,
got that win, and then this year he is.
Just got to try the computer. Then, unfortunately,
he's in the top 2 drivers.
Yeah, all cars are equal
in terms of ultimate performance and making the best out of his package.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be 15, 20 minutes.
Like this, he's going to be around for a very long time.
Start.
Now let's see if Pierre Gasly's words of encouragement for his
team
helped at all. And I'm still recovering from these Monza highlights.
And here we go then. The lights are coming on now. When all 5 go out, we'll be racing in Monza. We're underway. Jarno Othmir from pole position gets a great start by the looks of things as we head down towards turn 1. Marcel Kiefer still holding to P2. Is he going to look to the inside of the Mercedes? He does look to the inside, but Jarno Othmir late on the brakes and gets through the first chicane absolutely fine and dandy. Fabrizio Donoso, P3 still. What a great qualifying from him. Lucas Blakely, P4. Barry Burremand on the soft tyres, up to P5 already. He's made up a couple of positions. Job's gone down a position, so has Rasmussen.
Yeah, it looked good for Barry here when he got so well, but it's going to be quite similar to Spa, where softs at the end is just going to be so powerful.
Down the outside of Lucas Blakely on the way into Ascari. He's going to bring it down the outside. Is it going to be close enough to make it move?
Oh, what a move.
What a great job from Barry Burremand.
There's a position change between Tourmaline and Beresnay, but let's focus on Donoso.
It's an upstream volume output. It's on the maximum.
It's almost deja vu. This time it's Donoso and Burremand, and he may well clear it with the use of slipstream of Kiefer ahead to go all the way round the outside, and all of a sudden, Barry Burremand is on a charge.
Let me see if this is better, actually.
What a move, mate. Nice job.
There's a move to the lead as we cut across the team radio. Marcel Kiefer takes the lead. Barry Burremand is now going to take the lead from the pair of them. From P3 to P1, Barry Burremand in the McLaren decides, you know what, I'm going to lead from the front. Give me those soft tyres. And now, let's see what he can do. Need to watch out for this now. We've got Kiefer, Blakely, Donoso and Caraton all in the pits now. They're putting on a fresh set of soft tyres.
Yeah, they always recap the races from before.
On the likes of Burremand. They're all fighting ahead. Longue dips a wheel into the grass. They're going to fight once again down towards turn 1. Is Longue going to go round the outside, then the inside against Lucas Blakely? He is indeed. And the pair of Alpines that both are running penalties are fighting tooth and nail. And all of a sudden, Jarno Othmir up to P5. Is he going to get up the inside of Longue into the next chicane? He's thinking about it, but maybe not this time. Has a little look, but this time Jarno Othmir still, though, makes a position up on his championship rival, Lucas Blakely. Oh, a bit of contact, and that may well, I think his front might be okay, but Othmir just wants to get on with it. He's now flying down the straight, side by side with Nicolas Longue, but again, Donoso given the slipstream, but no, Jarno has more straight line speed even without the slipstream. Up to P4 goes Jarno Othmir, and that is a solid move. They're so close going through the first chicane. Oh, there's a wheel banging as well. Who is going to come out on top? They're still side by side, Nick.
This is the crazy thing. Doesn't Othmir take the risk and fight Longue?
Oh, enter Danny Moreno! Enter Danny Moreno into this fight, and they're going to go 3 wide into the second chicane. It's Jarno Othmir, and then it's Danny Moreno, and Nicolas Longue is lost out. There's contact again. Nicolas Longue comes out worse in that particular incident, down to P8.
Donoso's looking super racy. Who are we going to be slipstreaming? We've got left or right. We've got so much choice. And Othmir thinking twice about it on the inside of Donoso.
Oh, Othmir's going to try and do the pair of them here with his fresher tyres. Can he go round the outside? It'll be the inside line when he finally gets to the second chicane, Jarno Othmir. Oh, he's not got the slipstream though. This is going to be so close. Look how close they are to win back.
Has to be now for Othmir on the brakes for sure.
Oh, will he get Rasmussen as well? That's going to be so tight for Jarno up to P3. Oh, look in the background, Danny Moreno and Donoso going side by side into the Ascari chicane as well.
This is it. This is the better exit that Othmir's got. And now up to P2. It's definitely got to be P2 for Othmir.
Well, it might not be actually. Marcel was giving the slipstream to Freddie Rasmussen. They're going to go side by side into curve at Barreto, but it looks like Jarno Othmir is going to get the position. Now who have the use of DRS, can he catch Marcel?
I think this is where Moreno overtakes off the track, right here, I think.
He has to try and hold up as much as he possibly can. Jarno Othmir, oh, look at that! Danny Moreno up the inside up to P2! That is unbelievable from the Mercedes driver. Oh, they almost come together, the two silver arrows. Freddie Rounds! There's been contact damage and it's
that's huge for Red Bull for the championship and for Freddie.
Freddie Rasmussen, this whole race has gone.
He would have been right there in the Drivers' Championship.
Marcel Kiefer
and constructors, they would have been right there as well.
It's going to be enough for the Red Bull driver. Marcel Kiefer has dominated from the front, and it is a brilliant drive from the Red Bull driver. He comes over the line to win the Italian Grand Prix from Danny Moreno and Jarno Othmir.
Mercedes did well, but very fortunate
one of those
Red Bull
drivers.
had that
was
incident
fantastic entertainment, Nick.
Now, I have got to agree with past me. It was fantastic entertainment. And there is the race classification. Marcel Kiefer took the victory in the Red Bull ahead of Jarno Othmir.
Hopefully it'll start soon, the race.
For Freddie Rasmussen. It looked so close to being a Red Bull 1-2 and just producing an amazing undercut strategy.
Yeah, if Red Bull got 1-2 there, that would have been so big for the championship.
Excuse the pun, but that's 10 points for the AlphaTauri team, and they'll be very happy with that. Donoso up there as well. There's some new names, new faces constantly coming up there, and it's great to see. Let's take a look at the second page. Danny Beresne just missing out on points, but only 5.6 seconds off the lead, and he doesn't score any points. That's F1 Esports in a nutshell this year. Nicolas Longue getting caught up in
they never tell you when the race is exactly going to start, but it should be
is Mr. James Baldwin.
Hopefully
James,
15 minutes.
Took a long time to process. I don't think I'm still over it, to be honest, and my voice just about recovered for this show. What did you make of it?
Well, I mean, I wasn't quite shouting like you were, but I can hear the husky voice as well. But it was like a Formula Ford race. I mean, there clearly wasn't any dirty
Ivan, thank you for coming, remember my friend. Thank you to everyone who has as well. Thank you so much for support recently.
Is that the technical term?
Yeah, it was nuts.
So something that we tend to see in the F1 Esports series sometimes is DRS trains, and we can't get the moves done. But for whatever reason, the last couple of laps in a lot of races this season already, they've just gone, you know what? I don't really care. I'm just going to send one.
It's good. I mean, as I said earlier, it's about the experience. You know, the more these drivers
Lucas
do it,
needs to inspire. If I was him, it would just be about outscoring Jarno. Come away as championship leader, and that will just give you so much confidence.
You can overtake quite easily.
Yeah, YouTube compresses the video, unfortunately.
This we're seeing on screen right now, the battle between Rasmussen and Othmir. And at this point, we're thinking, it's a two-way fight. You know, it's just between Othmir and Rasmussen, and this is where I exploded, and Danny Moreno just came out of nowhere to take P2, and then this was quite tight, wasn't it, between the two Mercedes?
Yeah, I think he outbraked himself, but he wasn't too kind to Jarno, was he? And then in the second chicane, they had a little battle as well. But listen, I mean, Danny Moreno has to take those opportunities. You know, difference between P4 and P2, you've got to do it. And
you mentioned as well in the quali show, for people that didn't see it though, that Moreno wasn't exactly playing second fiddle, was he? He's happy to stick it up. Conversations from the team as well about, look, okay, right, you took it a bit too far in that race. Maybe calm it down and don't dive bomb Othmir. Is that the kind of things they may have been saying to Danny?
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
if Jarno wins today when it's dry, then
no one has anything to lose. So yeah, I mean, they're probably going to send it. I can't tell you. I don't know. We'll find out soon.
We will indeed. So that was day one. Let's take a look at how the standings look after all of that action. And Jarno Othmir, 4 points, only 4 points clear of Lucas Blakely, who is just scoring points every single race. Mr. Consistent is the Aston Martin driver. Freddie Rasmussen still very much in the hunt in the Drivers' Championship as well. Barry Burremand, again, another one of the kind of Lucas Blakely performances, always there in the top 5 and making qualifying work for him. Marcel Kiefer maybe a little bit disappointed to be down in 5th place, but of course winning the Italian Grand Prix has helped that. And let's take a look at the second page. This is where you don't want to be, really, isn't it, James?
Exactly.
And David Tanitsa's probably going to want to get a move on, down in 11th at the moment with 13 points. And we've got 3 drivers on 0 points as well. So Danny Berezny being one of them. A bit surprising there, huh?
Points. Crazy.
Really weird. I mean, yes, he's not done every race, but he's done 3 or 4. You just expect him to be up there. He's got so many wins, poles, podiums. Just this new game's not suiting him. I have no idea what's going on. Really weird.
Well,
really
hopefully it'll come good for him. There's the team's championship. Mercedes, 122 points ahead of Red Bull. So they've got a decent lead, but that can all change in one race. We've already seen it this season. Aston Martin, thanks to Lucas Blakely flying the flag, sitting in P3. Then Alpine, a pretty strong lineup with Donoso and Longuet, but I think Longuet probably wanted a bit better results at this point in the season. McLaren Shadow as well. That's pretty much all come from Barry Burremand. And then, of course, Haas still waiting to get off the 0 point mark. What do you do in that kind of scenario where you haven't really scored that many points, you're nearly halfway through the season?
I can tell you exactly what you do.
I didn't want to say that. I wasn't going to be mean. But obviously you've been in difficult positions. How do you pick yourself up after maybe a disappointing start?
You need to dig deep. You need the right people around you. Obviously, personal life, professional. They need to not blow smoke, you know, but just encourage. And it will go your way. If you're quick enough, which they all are to be on the grid, it will go your way. You just got to just really dig deep. It's hard, but you got to do it.
Now, I hate to ask you, but what was it that you had to dig deep about maybe to get better performances out of it? Was it the fact that you weren't maybe like putting enough practice? I don't want to say that. I know you worked very hard, but what element was it that maybe you felt like you were lacking? Was it just understanding of the game, maybe on the mental side and dealing with the pressure? I'm not saying that you're not the perfect
it was the lack of practice. I completely prioritised my other commitment, which was real-life racing in British GT. And it went into F1 Esports. So I wouldn't say I regret it. It's just how it is. You know, I had, 600 hours on the game, which was not as much as some of the others. So it makes a difference.
So do you reckon that we're seeing that with some of the drivers here this year, that maybe the ones that, I know you're not going to say, yes, absolutely, but is that maybe one of the reasons that you think that the likes of Danny Berezny maybe hasn't got off the mark?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're doing in their lives. You know, if they do have distractions, it will get in the way. But it's hard to say, you know, it's so marginal that one loss of thought process through one corner and that's lap gone. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Thanks for your insight, James. I'm going to stick up the countdown clock to let you know how long is left till the race. Join us after the break, where we will be getting under the Belgian Grand Prix.
Thank the Lord. Nice. Yeah, in F1 Esports, you just need to,
hey guys, it's Ferrari
to beat the champion. I think you just got to just throw everything at it. Maybe no Tanitsa's on pole. I know he focuses on a lot of other games, but over a season you just need to do nothing but F1.
My puppet and a wheel. Grass, green paint, and green AstroTurf. Hell yeah, let's go! Drinking, going to the bathroom, and closing my eyes. That was really awkward because I was already thinking about Brandon. Oh, so me and David spend a lot of time together before bedtime. We do. Snuggles. Mackerel, salmon, tuna. Horse, king, and queen. In Italian we say we say host basically, literally, so I don't know the name of the host.
My career, no.
Delta, Alpha, Beta.
What?
Yeah.
Fair play.
Get in there.
Pineapple, salami, not pepperoni because pepperoni is wrong, and mushrooms. Yeah, I self-burn my career and I put pineapple on pizza.
Nice. Get in there, Brandon. You're washed. Oh god.
Come on, let's go, let's go. As well.
We're underway in Belgium. Giovinazzi is in the wall. Sunday afternoon masterclass from Lewis Hamilton.
Let's take a look at this Belgian
All right, here we go.
Spa-Francorchamps, an iconic
Yeah, they'll just be waiting on the grid now while this goes on.
Sectors, 2 DRS zones, and you can see right now we have
Brendan's
19 corners ahead
Correct.
of the drivers. This is such a long circuit as well. You really have to make your moves in the right places. This is turn 1, Berezne versus Rasmussen. You might want to try and overtake, but then you get the slipstream all the way down to turn 5, and they still continue fighting. Rasmussen coming out on top in that particular battle. Rasmussen and Berezne so good around this circuit historically.
Yeah, I think the competition has just gotten so much better throughout the years.
2020, Berezne.
So much better. Everyone's improved. The competition's
Lots
better.
of action going on there as well.
You just, as I said, you have to give everything
some great overtakes.
to be the champion
Spa
overall,
is usually an amazing track.
Play nothing but F1.
To seeing how these drivers
no other distractions
take
in your
this,
life.
This circuit. Usually it has its own climates as well. That's something that I've heard.
Yeah, sometimes it can rain in one part of the circuit down at La Source, and at the other end, the slower section where Pouron is, it can be raining. So it varies all the time. That's what the challenge is. You know, do you put the intermediates on if it's sprinkling in one bit but heavy in the other end, and can you coax the car through? That's what's so good about this circuit. So far, 7.004 kilometres, I think.
Not as powerful as last game, I don't think. Same with Dirty Air is not as a big factor anymore. The DRS is quite powerful.
Spa's so good, I think you can make an exception.
But that's why ERS, the ERS is just so important to save the battery. Super
We mentioned
important.
the microclimates, but of course it's a really long lap as well. So if, you know, for example, we do get some changeable conditions and you just
if you're in a
miss the
DRS
bits,
trainer,
you
it's
think,
going to be
one more
super
lap,
hard
and then you go,
to
oh
take.
god, it's 1 minute 45.
So either have to go for a big undercut
it's a long time
here
to make a wrong decision, isn't it?
You're going to be in a
very deep into the race because the track is so long. So long. Even if you pit like 4 laps from the end, it's still quite a lot of time to do something.
It's going to take you significantly longer, and if you can keep it pointing in the right direction, that's going to be the challenge.
Time to head to the race now, but before we do, here's James to take you around a lap of Spa.
Thanks, Matt. Let's do a lap of Spa-Francorchamps on F1 2021. So, Sector 1 is basically one corner, the source, down to first gear for the apex. Then you want to short shift on the exit to avoid some wheel spin. It's all about getting a good exit because you've got a long straight through Radeon, through Eau Rouge, which in an F1 car is not really a corner. Easy, flat, don't even have to think about it. And in 8th gear as well, down the straight to Le Combe, which is a very important section. We're going to look to brake about 100 metres, cut all the curbs to the limit.
Yeah, if system is realistic in the game, that'd be awesome. Because it's like 3 or 4 seconds.
And then a bit of oversteer on the curbs. The curbs are really slippy. Up to 6th.
Yeah, I don't think the game will ever be a true
middle of
sim.
Sector 2.
Because
so the next
too many
one's
variables
right,
for it.
It's very easy to lock up because the car is starting to get away with you, or away from you with the weight. Then No Name is a very tricky corner. It's all about the exit, and we get invalidation. Overstep the mark there. Going into Pouron, almost flat, and you can tell I've done no practice because that was awful. Good into Pif Path, down to 4th, I reckon. Should have taken some curb there, up to 5th for the left. Again, the curbs are really slippy. Then down to 4th for the next right. And we're going to run wide on the exit.
Yeah, James Baldwin's a super nice guy.
Very hard to drive with no audio, but we give it our best shot. And then down to the final chicane, which it's make or break. I mean, it's a very tricky chicane to get right, but if you've done a good lap to this point, you start, you know, getting scared because it's so easy to mess up. So I reckon brake at 100, down to 3rd, probably a bit early on the brakes, then 2nd for the left, short shift on the exit. We're a bit lazy there on the throttle, but across the line, that was a lap of Spa. So yeah.
Thank you very much, James, for that amazing track guide around Spa. Mr. Nick Hamilton, welcome to the commentary booth.
All right, let's go.
Bit of news for you. It's raining. Raining at Spa.
It's raining.
We've got David Tenitzer on pole. We've got a few drivers out of place. Moreno Overtake, we've seen him, what he's done at China earlier on this season with the crazy wet strategy. What are we going to see this time?
Well, it's definitely thrown a cat amongst the pigeons, hasn't it, Matt?
It has.
I was looking forward to a dry race. Dry race was
starting where he did pretty much at China. I don't think people are going to allow him to get away with it this time. Surely not.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if there are any alternate strategies out there that they decide to go for. But it looked pretty heavy. It looked pretty heavy, the rain. So let's take a look at the starting grid then. And it is David Tenitzer on pole position ahead of Freddie Rasmussen. Then Nicholas Longue, P3. If you watched the quali show earlier, he has been promoted after a penalty was unwarranted. Barry Burmand, once again, up there, P4. He has a good opportunity to score some points. Danny Moresne,
I really wanted a dry race,
he gets the call up from the McLaren Shadow, and he's P5. Then it's Danny Moreno, Yoni Tormler and Brendan Lee.
Otherwise, it will be a true.
Let's see what these guys can do in these heavy rain conditions. Then it's the two Aston Martins. Lucas Blakely
yeah,
pretty disappointed.
Wet Spa is a track he probably.
In Q3, then Sebastian Job.
It's probably the stuff of nightmares going up over Rouge and
then Marcel Kiefer, very disappointed after qualifying. Only P12. But not as disappointed as Moreno Overtake down in 14th, just behind Patrick Sipos, who gets the call-up over Fabrizio Donoso. Then it's Simon Weigang, the birthday boy, in P15, ahead of Alvaro Caraton, the 16th place runner, and just missed out on Q2. And then the final page, Cedric Tomei and Van Erven, the two Haas drivers, and Philip Prishneda and Michael Romanidis, rounding out the 20-car.
Yeah, if the weather says it might dry, then it's probably worth going Inters. Oh, they're on Inters anyway. Oh,
it is
Rasmussen
pouring with rain.
Tenitz is on wets and Rasmussen Inters.
Around the last couple of corners.
See that everyone at the back is
onto the grid. Nick, this
could be another
so
China.
I
reckon this would be another China
Freddie
kind of scenario.
Rasmussen on Inters, and then from 11th to last, also on Inters, we have got a strategy battle on our hands.
Rasmussen is basically the only guy in the top 10 on Inters. What the hell is going on? I can't wait.
I'm ready for this.
This is going
to be a tale of two halves, I think. The wet tyre runners. Look how wet it is out there. You can see the puddles as the last few cars join the back of the grid.
So they might struggle at the start, Inters, but then it might be good.
Start this Belgian Grand Prix. Here we go then. The lights are coming on now. When all five go out, we'll be racing in Spa. We're underway for the Belgian Grand Prix. David Tenitzer getting a pretty decent start down towards turn one. Freddie Rasmussen slow on those intermediates. The Alpine of Nicholas Longue looking to
damage
the inside.
Is on.
That's also Barry Burmand making some places as well. Freddie is dropping like a stone at the moment through turn one.
Yeah, he's going really. Oh, shit!
That's Danny Moresne. Oh! It's a big crash as Danny Moresne is going to be out of contention completely, dropped to the bottom of the field. Oh, after such a great qualifying from Danny, he is in 20th position. Let's focus on the front now. David Tenitzer still leading from Nicholas Longue and Barry Burmand, P3. Freddie Rasmussen just trying to hold on those Inters. In the background, you can see Brendan Lee and Johnny Tormler fighting. Brendan Lee up to P5 now on those wet tyres. You'd imagine he'll get close and then potentially pass. Freddie Rasmussen very quickly. Danny Moresne unfortunately out the session. Brendan Lee up the inside, up to P4. And
yeah, Rasmussen's got to just hang on for this first stint. Let's go dry.
Duck on those intermediate tyres, but will they come to play?
Where's Blakey? Blakey's 7th.
For him,
good start from him.
Stay out of trouble and try not to
now
lose
in
too much time already.
Good
now
start.
Losing time to Lucas Blakely. Danny Moreno up next to overtake him. But as we've seen, they do come in if you are patient. So Freddie Rasmussen just got to stay patient, man.
He absolutely does. But you have to say at this point, he's thrown away a P2, a great qualifying session at the moment.
It must be drying at the end of the race.
Just like we saw Moreno Overtake in China, they're all seeming to want to try that strategy now. But Freddie Rasmussen starting on the front row of the grid, very surprised to see him start on the intermediates. He's already fallen off the back of Lucas Blakely. Here's Daniele Haddad right behind the Mercedes driver of Danny Moreno. Both of these on the wet tyres. Let's have a look and see who else has made places up. Lucas Blakely has made up places from P10 on the grid up to P6. Down the inside goes Daniele Haddad on Danny Moreno. They're going to be side by side through this butt-stop chicane. Who's going to come out on top? It's all about traction here. It's going to be the inside line for Daniele Haddad. They're going to fight very hard, though. What a great move for Haddad in the Aston Martin. Will Danny Moreno try it up the inside? No, he will not. So the Aston Martin up to P8. Next up, Freddie Rasmussen, who did not make that corner at all. 2 seconds back from Lucas Blakely already, but remember, he just needs a pit stop for when it turns to intermediates and all these wet runners come in, which I imagine that's the reason that the teams have chosen this strategy, is because they think it's going to get drier. And to be honest, for me, it looks like it's getting drier already.
It's already getting drier.
Going to try and get past Freddie Rasmussen here. They're going to be side by side. I don't think Rasmussen is going to try and fight this, to be honest, and he does not. He just filters in. He's playing the long game.
Yeah, great job from Daniele Haddad.
This is good for Aston Martin at the moment. Jarno's still in P12.
Up to P7 already. Lucas Blakely having a fantastic
I think everyone's learnt from China.
P6, so Daniele Haddad
they definitely checked the weather
great
before.
Rear gunner to help Lucas Blakely along.
The Inters should be coming back soon, hopefully.
Team radio.
Well, they should be.
Who's the best starter in F1 Esports?
You, mate.
Wow. Okay. So Brendan Lee getting out his trumpet and playing it. Well done, Brendan. Up to P4, and he's very happy with that. Ferrari 1-4 at the moment, and that's definitely the best result by a mile if they finish it here. But there's a long way to go in this race at the moment. We have to keep an eye on that interval between Freddie Rasmussen and the nearest wet runner, which at the moment is Daniele Haddad. He's 1.6 seconds back, so still losing time. But Moreno is making no time up either. I wonder if he has had some front wing damage somewhere, because he is nowhere near the back of that Red Bull. Now,
Brendan's very good in wet as well.
P2 at the moment. He wants to get himself involved in this Drivers' Championship and also help Alpine get in the mix of Mercedes, Red Bull, Aston Martin. Johnny Tormula as well in that AlphaTauri. They've had a very difficult start to the season. They're on 14 points at the moment, I believe, as lots of fastest laps being set now. And I wonder, when will this transition happen? Because if it starts to dry out very quickly, Nick, the intermediate runners are going to look like geniuses, because they're not pulling away at the level or at the rate that I was maybe
Keep an eye on
expecting.
that gap between Rasmussen and Haddad.
If you go back to China, it was around lap 3 where the Inters started really to come into the mix, and yeah,
Keeper's on Inters as well.
Completely.
Both
I think
Red Bulls.
obviously the first lap was pretty horrendous for him, but that's what you expect being on the intermediate tyres. And yeah, I think the wet runners
it's such a long lap. It's still got quite a way to go.
They would have expected. So I think the intermediate runners just need to remain patient.
This is fascinating stuff. We've got pretty much from 1st to 7th all on wet tyres, but will they have to pit? To be fair, in this part of the track you can see the rain still absolutely chucking it down.
Moreno might have damage,
so you'd
might be
imagine,
right.
yeah, you can see the interval between Haddad and Rasmussen is now up to 2.8 seconds. If it doesn't let off, Nick, the wet tyre runners are going to run clear with this one. But we just have to wait and see. Lap 3 of 15, 35% race distance, don't forget. Barry Burman once again in the mix, trying to score points, consistent points, just like Lucas Blakely has been doing this season. And it will definitely pay dividends at the end of this season if he's constantly up there, constantly qualifying well. Nicholas Longuet's got had a really good middle sector. In fact, I wonder if he's going to try and challenge David Tanitsa. You can see with the flashing red light.
Yeah, Rasmussen's still losing. Yeah, Moreno must have damage. Rasmussen's losing so much time to Haddad.
Tanitsa for now, no reason to really attack it. At this stage of the race, they know they're fighting the intermediate runners at the moment. Freddie's still losing time to Haddad. That's the main thing we're watching out for at the moment. Jarno Othmir still behind Sebastian Job. P12 for Jarno. And this time he doesn't have the luxury of being the only driver on a crazy strategy. He's got 3 other drivers ahead on the intermediates. Daniele
Haddad
can
do the whole race on Inters, I think, probably.
On the wet tyres.
Probably can,
When we see a fastest lap from the intermediates, Nick, that's when we're going to start to think this race could turn on its head.
Yeah, definitely. That could be the crossover. Now, Nicholas Longuet looking super
Yeah, when you're on the grid, you can see when it's gradually going to ease off. It'll tell you if it's going to ease off or not on the grid. That's how Jarno knew in China.
I would say just take his time.
So yeah, people would have looked at that and maybe took a risk.
It's not a stranger.
Probably said it's going to dry out towards the end of the race. So
yeah, doing a very good job out front. Freddie Rasmussen still losing time to Daniele Haddad. So at the moment, the wet tyres are the best place to be, and we'll listen to some more team radio.
Easing off. Yeah, might just work out.
It might just work out. That's what we want to hear.
Could do.
That it could change. And Freddie Rasmussen thinks it's letting up a little bit. So let's see. It still looks pretty wet to me at the moment, but we've seen already in these races how quickly it can change.
Thing is, if it eases off but still stays wet, then the Inters are just going to be insane. Or everyone on the wet is going to have to pit.
All within a shot of winning this
and
race,
they don't have enough time
where the
to catch
conditions
up.
stay as they are. If not,
could be like China again.
it'll be Rasmussen, Kiefer and Job your top 3. Sebastian Job will be very happy with that one. He's staying with Marcel Kiefer very comfortably indeed. He's got Jarno just behind him. Simon Weigang, the birthday boy. He'll be looking strong as well. But look, I mean, the camera angle struggling to see through the spray there. So, yeah, it's certainly not intermediate tyre condition just yet. 5.3 seconds back now is Haddad. But clearly, those teams reckon it's going to change quite dramatically.
And what will really be interesting is once we start getting some potential pit stops, that's when the teams are
Rasmussen's still losing a lot of time.
Sorry, look at Ferrari.
Oh, we've got a pitter. We've got a pitter in there. Sorry, Danny Moreno coming into the pits.
Moreno pit.
There
I think he must have damage.
That's the first
he must have damage.
Driver to blink, and I guess risk it for the intermediates, and I suppose as well. He doesn't want to pit on the same lap as... Oh, no, Jarno Othmir would actually stay out. So Danny Moreno just risking it. He felt like he's not really in the fight for the victory. Needs to give it a go with the intermediates, and that is a big roll of the dice.
It is indeed. And before you cut in so rudely there, Matt, I was actually going to say... I apologise. I was going to go and say that, you know, with these pit stops, I think David Tanitza, Brendan Lee and Ferrari or FDA Hublot need to really think it through because they don't want to get caught out with one more driver doing an extra lap, because you never know, that could really, really hurt their chances.
I'm hearing in my ear as well, Danny Moreno was carrying some damage, so that's the reason that one, he was falling away, and two, he came into the pits, is because, well, he's going to roll the dice, hope it lets off, and whacks a new front wing on that car. So, smiling again. I should have a whack bingo card, shouldn't I, really? But we continue on. Joni Tormler we're taking a look at now in the AlphaTauri. If he finishes there, it'll be 10 points, which will help that tally no end for AlphaTauri. Oh, this is just, it's on a knife's edge.
He's not even gaining on
Sipos.
Look how much time he's losing to Sipos as well.
But look, if pit stops happen,
it's definitely
Freddie
still
will
wet.
Easily take the lead.
Yeah, easily still wet.
A pit stop will happen.
They might even put enough where they could even pit stop, maybe. Potentially. The kid's going to this.
We've got a team radio here.
To be honest, Barry, I'd just look at the front two and wait for them to start making their move.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're all working together, basically. That's how you decode that radio message. Because there is no reason for these wet tyre runners to start fighting each other at the moment, because they know they're...
Look how much time Moreno is losing to Sipos.
And they know that any bit of time
Wets are still way faster at this stage.
Crucial come the end of this race. 15 laps. It's not a long... Not many laps in the lap counter, but it is a very long racetrack, this Spa-Francorchamps circuit.
Yeah, Wets is still fastest.
The fastest lap of the race, down in P17. And he's on wet 3-lap-old tyres, so he's come into the pits for one reason or another. I imagine some damage as well. And we can now see Nicolas Longuet just biding his time. Not seeing many overtakes at the moment, I am aware, but this is the beauty of F1 Esports. They know that it's all about time loss at the moment, but we've seen it in every single race pretty much this season, that it looks all calm and composed. Then one lap, they're like, nope, I'm going to now stick all of my ERS into this lap, and we're going to start overtaking.
Yeah, it's definitely a strategic race at the moment. We've just got Hawkeye, basically, on Freddie Rasmussen, and
Rasmussen's still losing time.
7.7 is the gap to Danny
Moreno is still, he's also about 2 seconds, Moreno, already.
A wet tyre at the moment is definitely the best place, but I'm just waiting to see. I'm poised to see whether we see a fastest lap.
Nick Hamilton, if you can see Nick Hamilton, he has got his eyes glued to that timing screen.
Yeah, it's got to drive quite a lot for these wet inters to work.
Exactly that.
I think everyone saw what happened in China and just
but will it be too late for Rasmussen and Kiefer? Right now, they're 8th and 9th, which will not be good enough for them. Although when you compare it to where the Mercedes are, which is 10th,
Moreno could be going slow, but Rasmussen's losing time, so I don't think Rasmussen's deliberately losing time to
of Blakely and Haddad will make some inroads into the current leaders of the team's championship.
Yeah, Rasmussen could be about almost a pit stop behind already.
7 of 15.
So it's just not working out at the moment.
What is going to happen between this front 6? Daniel Haddad just trying to stay not within DRS because it's wet, but just stay with these 6. They're kind of towing each other along at the moment, aren't they, Nick? They're using the slipstream of each other. David Tanitza probably using a bit more battery. It's like a peloton, you know, in bike racing. You know, the front one has to work a little bit harder than the ones following.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's a very strategic race. I don't think Nicholas Longue really wants to lead. I think he's sitting pretty in P2 currently. Brendan Lee, as we know, was super happy with his start and saying that he's the best starter in F1 Esports. And yeah, I think everyone so far driving a very, very calm race.
Rasmussen closing in.
Rasmussen, he's actually taken a 10th out of Daniele Haddad on this lap, which is interesting. Will that continue to drop? And if it does,
stabilizing
that could
a
mark
bit.
The crossover point.
I am
stabilizing.
Looking at the detail of this screen to
Ooh,
see if it's becoming more intermediate conditions.
Yeah,
and
he's
it does
closing
look
now.
Like it's drying out a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is now.
Another 10th, another couple of tenths.
Yeah.
Is what Rasmussen has taken out.
Ooh.
So another team radio.
I don't know, should I even pit? Because I can stay out if the wet and inters difference wouldn't be big.
Yeah, we'll judge.
We'll judge. Okay, right.
Yeah, he's closing now.
I
might even pull the trigger now if I was going to lead for inters.
It was 8 seconds.
I might
it's
even
now
pit
into
now.
the 7s.
Yep.
It might well be intermediate time, and they're all coming into the pits.
Got to be time.
So
Yeah, you
all
have
of a sudden,
to, you have
the
to.
intermediate runners are going to be leading this field. But how quick are all of these drivers? Tanitsa, Longue, Burman,
Did they have enough
Tormund,
time
and
to
Blakely
catch up,
going
though?
to
That's
be
the
on
thing.
fresh
Did they have enough time?
intermediates. This race is turning on its head, Nick.
It is indeed,
Yep.
and it's all about Frederick Rasmussen and the rest of the intermediate runners. How well have they looked after their tyres? Are they going to be able to get it to the end of the race? Now, this is super, super interesting. I'm so excited. It's the perfect crossover time.
Depends how far behind they
yeah,
come.
straight into the pits. Let's wait
It's going to
and
be
see.
quite far
Unfortunately
behind.
for
I think.
Brendan Lee and Daniele Haddad, they had teammates that were ahead of them, so
Fairly,
they could not
quite
come
far
into the
behind.
pits at the same time, otherwise they would have been double stacked. So they're going to have a lap of pain as Danny Moreno sets the fastest lap of the race. Still down in 17th at the moment is Danny, because he had to change that front wing, and there's a bit of fighting going on here between David Tanitsa, Sebastian Job and Nicholas Longue. Oh, please don't go 3 wide into there. It might well be 2 wide though. Tanitsa, Longue and Job in the background, and it's Longue getting ahead of Sebastian Job. And David Tanitsa
They're not that
technically
far
was
behind.
the leader until he pit.
They're not that far behind.
In P6 at the moment, not too far behind Freddie Rasmussen. What is the pace going to
Yeah,
be
Lucas
like
in
for these
13th
0-lap
now. Oh,
runners?
God.
Tanitsa and Longue, Sebastian Job, of course, 7-lap-old intermediates on his car.
So Jano's like in
This
a
is going to
podium
be very
position at the
interesting
moment.
indeed. Jano Othmir
From
has
14th.
made some positions up, of course, just behind Marcel Kiefer.
Oh
Once
my
we
God.
see Lee and Haddad come into the pits, it's going to be a Rasmussen, Kiefer, Othmir top 3. And that is not something we expected to see, knowing where Kiefer and Othmir were starting this race.
Let's
Both
see how
out in
quick
Q2,
Tanitsa closes in.
But they're making an alternate strategy work. Shock for Jano Othmir making an alternate strategy work. There's Simon Weigang. There's no birthday balloons, which I'm very upset about. Is that some birthday
This
cake
is the
for
race
that?
they
I'm not
needed
sure.
for
But either
Jano.
way, he's
He
running
needed a race where it's going to dry out, and it's done it again.
P9. Just ahead of Barry Burman, who's going to be very quick indeed on those fresh intermediates.
Surely we're going to see Brendan Lee into the pits.
So it's
and into
closing
the pits
though.
exactly
It's
is what
closing.
he does. He lost quite a bit of time to Freddie Rasmussen, who took, I'd say, a good second and a half on this lap alone. Fastest lap now changing to Marcel Kiefer. So we've got a Red Bull 1-2. Othmir in third. And yeah, with the alternate strategy, still, Othmir's got a lot of work to do because those Red Bulls aren't going to be easy to pass.
They're not, but they're actually quite far away from each other. So Rasmussen and Kiefer aren't exactly in tow distance, so they can't play
Red Bull
the
1-2
team
at
game
the
as
moment.
such. If we have the likes of Tanitsa and Longue rocking up to the back
Tanitsa
of their
is
diffuser.
catching
Here's
very
Lucas
quickly,
Blakely,
though, very quickly.
as he's about to overtake Yoni Tormler, I believe.
Seems to be a bit more powerful than it was at China.
They're both on 0-lap-old intermediates, and Blakely just thinking better of it just now. Let's hear some team radio.
The good news for us is everyone else's inters are dead.
Yeah, inters wear a lot more
They're
than
dead,
wets.
according to Lucas. So, how dead are they? That's the question.
Yeah,
How
Tanitsa
much
caught
quicker
Jano by like a second that
are
lap.
they going
so
to be? Because Freddie Rasmussen is a good 6-odd seconds down the road from Tanitsa. We've only got 6
I
laps
think
to go
Rasmussen has
of
got
this
it,
Belgian Grand
but
Prix.
I think
Lucas might be
Jano
celebrating the fresh
and
tyres,
Kiefer
but
could be in
does he have
trouble there.
enough time to get back to where he was before? Barry Burman cannot seem to get past Simon Weigang at the moment.
Yeah, so
Dad in P16
like
now.
Benefit at the moment with a fresher set of inters. It's looking like the guys that were already on the inters at the start of the race are still managing to make it work. It's good to be riding on board with Lucas Blakely to see if he's gaining anything on Joni Tourmala, as we are now watching Barry Burmond doing a good job there in P8. And let's see
Thing is,
goes on.
catching's one thing, passing's another, especially in these conditions.
But at the moment, even though, as you said, Blakely is happy with his tyre choice,
So it's just set the
still got a
fastest
bit of
lap
work
as
to
that.
do.
Freddie Rasmussen, fastest lap of the race. I have a feeling that's going to be displaced. It is by David Tanitsa, only by 1/10 of a second though. Freddie Rasmussen doing a brilliant job out there. Remember,
yeah, I think Rasmussen's got this. It could be, I think Jarno and Kiefer maybe. Depends how badly the tyres go off.
Master of managing worn tyres. Barry Burmond doesn't have anything like that to worry about. Danny Moreno sets the fastest lap of the race, but he is unfortunately completely out of contention and down in 17th place in the Mercedes after some impact caused his front wing to be damaged. Michael Romanidis a penalty, but he's down in 16th. And we're just keeping an eye on that gap, and Othmir is being reeled in by David Tanitsa. It's less than a second now. How does Othmir play this? That's the question. Does he just not fight it too hard and accept that he needs to keep those tyres in a good working window?
Double stacking, I don't think would have been better.
Shortly, Joni Tourmala P9
double stacking lose like 15,
for Barry
20
to
seconds.
make the move, but Job and Weigang are doing a brilliant job to hold these two back.
If it was like real life, then yeah, but on this game you lose too much time double stacking, like 15, 20 seconds.
I'm sure he's heard this a million times throughout his life, but no, really doing.
Let's see how
currently in P6.
Well, Jarno can defend.
And yeah, with Jarno Othmir, yeah, does he take the risk at the moment? He's extending.
I think Jarno's looking after his tyres a bit at the moment.
In the Drivers' Championship to Lucas Blakely. Blakely only in 10th. Yeah, happy with his tyres, but not necessarily moving forward. So a lot of work to do from him. And David Tanitsa looking pretty comfortable in P4. And the fact that Brendan Lee couldn't actually come into the pits at the right time because you're not allowed to double stack, or you're not able to double stack. It's actually cost him a lot of time down in P13.
Yeah, too much time lost in the pit lane when they do double stack, so they had to go for that. And yeah, P13, that is such a shame after Brendan being so happy with his start. Very interestingly, David Tanitsa lost a bit of time in that last sector to Jarno Othmir, and it's kind of stagnated at around 7/8 of a second. Marcel Kiefer not making any inroads into his teammate either. And all of a sudden, Red Bull looking very
this is the race that Jarno needed. He needed another China where it's going to go from wets to inters, but it's not going to go from inters to dries.
It's a very long lap around here, and the tyres can go off at any
point. Made the right choice again at the moment.
Closing in much more, and you'd have to imagine maybe in the next few laps, DRS might be enabled, and we see
could be even be dries.
With
could
the
even
dry
be
tyres,
dries,
Burman attacking Weigang. Sebastian Job is just ahead of them in P6 as well. So it's Job and Weigang still doing the business. I almost said Job.
Yeah, Jarno's been taking
ahead
tyres.
of Burmand and Tourmala. This must be so frustrating for them. Lucas Blakely was so excited at the fact that these drivers ahead have pretty worn intermediates, but they can't get past.
Yeah. And this is what I was saying. It's it all depends on how well the drivers that started the race on the inters, the 10-lap-old inters now, how they kept the tyres, and they've done a fantastic job to do that. So you got the likes of Tanitsa on 2-lap-old inters and Longue on 2-lap-old inters, and not really making any inroads.
Oh, Tanitsa's lost time. Tanitsa's lost time to Othmir now on this lap. It's over a second to the Mercedes driver. Yep. Rasmussen extending his advantage a little bit over Marcel Kiefer on this lap. And this turnaround that I was expecting is maybe not happening, although Blakely wants Tourmala to get on with this, and I imagine Lucas will want to be seeing this AlphaTauri in his rear-view mirror as opposed to being in front of him. Does Lucas try it down the inside? Yes, he does in the Aston Martin. Is it going to be a bit of contact? No, they're not. Little bit of wheel banging into the final corner, and unfortunately for Lucas, it is not going to work for him, although he is just trying to get that front left tyre in front of the right rear of Joni Tourmala. Lucas is going to go up the inside once again. Surely not. Surely they're not going to go side by side through Eau Rouge and Radion. Oh, Lucas gets just a bit better traction, and he gets through on Joni Tourmala. But crucially, they lose a little bit of time to Burmand and Weigang ahead. But that was a great move from Lucas. But can he hold on to this? He's already trying to weave out of the slipstream.
and not allow Joni Tommler back through. He's on the inside to try and defend it as well. Joni Tommler to the outside. Are they going to go side by side into here as well? Yes, they are. The AlphaTauri driver does not want to give this up, but Lucas Blakely seals P9 for now.
Yeah, very opportunistic coming out of
Tedesco just can't get past.
I think Joni had to take to the curb and lost a bit of traction there, which then gave
the safety car's turned off
Blakely
in
the
esports.
run
It's not
pretty
enabled.
much. Now, pretty good defensive work from
the very
Blakely.
beginning.
Put his car in the right position and great driving from both of those guys. Simon Weigang, birthday boy, up in P8. Is definitely a good race from him so far.
I'm constantly looking at these time intervals, and I am more and more confident now that Freddie Rasmussen has pulled off a masterstroke. Starting on the intermediates, a risky strategy, but clearly has done his research, had a look at the weather report and decided it was much better to start on the intermediate tyres. David Tanitsa is losing time to
Yeah, I'm surprised a lot more people didn't go on the inters,
considering
what happened at China.
0.8 of a second between Marcel and Jarno, as we see a fight now between Weigang and Lucas Blakely. Lucas, of course, on those much fresher intermediates. He's going to try and get past Simon. Into the bus stop chicane we go. Oh, a little bit of squeezing going on from Simon there. But Lucas can't find a way through at the moment. And he's going to be getting more and more irritated in his simulator. Is Lucas Blakely. Will he try it down the inside again, just like we saw against Joni Tommler? He has a little look, doesn't he? But just cannot outbrake Simon, despite the 8 lap difference and the 12 lap old tyres for Simon. He's going to just be a bit more patient and try it down the pit straight, down the main straight.
Yeah, so I think we are now starting to see the fresher inters come into play. And we've obviously got Lucas Blakely now on the hunt. He's going to try and go down the inside at the last minute. Is here, but he's defending pretty hard as well from Joni Tommler. These three drivers doing a fantastic job when it comes to lean driving.
Barry's got a penalty for corner cutting there. I think he was fighting Job, and we just cut to him there when he was off the track, and he's been given a 3-second time penalty. I'm sure he'll be going to the stewards to argue that one, but for right now, we have to say that Boromand has unfortunately lost any opportunity to score decent points. He may well finish P10 here, but now the fight for P2 is starting to hot up a little bit as well now. Jarno Othmir within half a second.
Because maybe the inters are really going off now.
Still trying to get through these old
15 laps is quite a lot for inters, especially when it's heavy wet at the start.
Available. You can still see there's so much spray. Only when there's dry enough conditions will the DRS be activated. Simon misses the apex by a country mile.
It's getting a lot drier.
Lucas Blakely's just going to have to be patient here. Can he get through? He hasn't got a huge amount of VRS, but he's going to go and try and go side by side now. Simon just trying to squeeze him back in. But Lucas, with the use of a bit more battery power, flies past Simon Weigang. Will Simon have any sort of answer into the bus stop chicane? It looks like he's not going to.
catching Kiefer.
So Lucas up to P8. Crucial points for him in the championship. Now, let's focus on Jarno Othmir, trying to get past Marcel Kiefer in the dying embers of this race. Penultimate lap, Freddie Rasmussen, 5 seconds clear. Forget about him. It's all about P2.
Yeah, Jarno Othmir making inroads, huge inroads into Marcel Kiefer. They're on the same lap tyres, so nothing different in that sense. Can Kiefer soak up the pressure from championship leader Jarno Othmir? Look at him focusing super hard. We are in the slipstream, in that tow. And not just yet going through the right, left. Be careful of those curves. They're going to be super slippery. And maybe we can get a better exit than Kiefer here. No, Kiefer looking very strong on exit. So far, so good for Kiefer. Drops down hill here. Really easy to lock an inside front. And over to the left corner with no name. It's all about exit here as well. But Kiefer looking like he's holding station for now.
These are crucial points in the fight between Red Bull and Mercedes. Jarno knows he needs to get through on Marcel, especially with Freddie Rasmussen scoring a maximum 25 points.
Then Jarno's just been saving his tyres a bit.
Maximum. I don't think he has fastest lap. I think that's gone to Danny
He
Moreno.
backed off Kiefer for a while.
25 points for Freddie Rasmussen at the moment. And Jarno knows with his teammate out of the points that this is going to be a huge swing in the favour of Red Bull. He needs to try and put some damage limitation here. And I wonder if Jarno will size up a move into the final lap of the race. So the intermediate runners have got it right here.
7th.
Can David Tanitsa do anything? It's 8-lap pressure
close he
intermediates,
is.
but just can't do anything. But Jarno Othmir has a little look into the
Ooh,
bus stop
that could be
chicane. There's a little
damage.
contact as well with the left
That
rear
could
of
be
Marcel
damage.
Kiefer. Marcel really
That could be
struggling
damage.
on these intermediates now, and Jarno smells an opportunity, but not only him, the Ferrari of David Tanitsa.
Wow, so the final lap into La Source.
Did he get away with it?
The last time. Oh,
I think he might have got away with it.
Pushing
Oh
and
my God.
pushing Marcel Kiefer through that hairpin, but now it's all about getting in the slipstream through Eau Rouge. Has Marcel Kiefer got enough in his tyres to deal with the pressure?
Tanitsa's very
Moreno
fast in a
Overtake?
straight line.
And we don't forget, we have David Tanitsa right in the mix.
Oh, this is
in the slipstream now, Matt.
This is going to be so close.
Oh, shit, what's going on?
David Tanitsa can't find any way on the racetrack to get through. Jarno and Marcel going to be side by side through these sequence of corners, but it's going to be Jarno Othmir who takes P2 away from Marcel Kiefer. David Tanitsa enters the fight as well now. Marcel going defensive. He doesn't know which way to go, David Tanitsa. He's going to have to settle for P4 at the moment, but it's not over yet. There's still half a lap to go. Freddie Rasmussen is home and dry, but P2
How much
still
ERS? He hasn't got much ERS, David.
Nicholas Longue as well in the background. This is certainly still on for the final podium position.
No, he's done it. He's done it. He's got P2 from there.
Yeah, it looks like that, doesn't it? So Jarno Othmir is pretty much checked out for P2. Fantastic racecraft from him. Can David Tanitsa spoil Marcel Kiefer's day even more and take that final podium away from him? So far, it looks like Nicholas Longue is actually in the fray, could potentially take away P4 from David Tanitsa. Let's wait and see. It looks like David has to really focus for the final sector here. It looks like Marcel Kiefer has actually gained a bit of time.
He has indeed. It's going to get very close. Freddie Rasmussen's about to win this race, but David Tanitsa is going to try and move into the bus stop chicane. He goes to the inside, the Ferrari driver. They're going to be side by side into the bus stop chicane. Freddie Rasmussen wins the Belgian Grand Prix ahead of Jarno Othmir. David Tanitsa takes the final place on the podium, and Marcel Kiefer is going to have to settle for fourth. But what a race from Freddie Rasmussen. He took the gamble. He went on intermediates. He's the only driver in the top 10 to do so, and he has absolutely
I don't know why people didn't go on inters.
Yeah,
if it's
well done.
Saying what happened at
Freddie
China.
Rasmussen, take a bow, my friend.
GG
Jarno
Rasmussen,
Othmir,
GG
he's done
Jarno,
it again,
GG
hasn't he?
Tanitsa.
From a pretty lackluster performance with her in qualifying.
Yeah, if you do drives like that, 14th to 2nd, they turn 15th to 1st. That's why you go win a championship.
The strategy was just mind-blowing. We had a bit of a slow burner.
You can say that's lucky,
but it kicked off at the end. But
everyone else,
Rasmussen
the
was
top 10 had the
certainly
option to go in
home and dry.
inters as well.
6.8 seconds. The victory margin there ahead of Jarno Othmir. Red Bull making huge.
Yeah, only one person in the top 10
Absolutely
did
incredible. We'll join you
inters,
after
and that
the
was
break.
Rasmussen. So yeah, you can call it luck, but you got to make the decision, and you got to drive the wheels off it as well.
Everyone
so
with Ferrari, welcome
yeah,
to the
GG to them.
challenge.
Jeez.
Let's see how well
A dry
we
race
and
would have been
David
good,
know
but
each other.
for Jarno, I think if it was a dry race, I think P2 would not have been possible.
His dream is to own
Even
a dog,
points
but he
might
has
have
a
been
cat.
difficult. So fortunate in that sense, but
Yeah, it was true. It was a dog. But
everyone
this
else
is not
has to
fair
do
because
the.
we talked about this yesterday.
Everyone else had the choice of the strategy as well. So
Favorite track. It's one in the
thank you so
UK.
much for
I
everyone
really
tuning
can't
in.
remember the name, but
Turn
I
it down a
always
little bit
mention
now.
it. It's something started with C, I think. Can I Google it? Was it called? Was it called something like Crofty?
Yep. No, thank you for everyone tuning in. If you want me to do more of these, then just like the stream, just comment, let me know. That was pretty fun to watch, actually. That was really, really good. I would have liked a dry race, but it's always intense when it's wet and it changes like that. So hopefully people in future will know that if it's drying, you have to go on into stuff as well. So yeah, GG to Jarno and Freddie. I think either one of them are probably the driver of the day, in my opinion. Next time we've got Portimao, Zandvoort, and Austin. So that should be a really good event 3. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you to so many people tuning in as well. Thank you for becoming a member of my YouTube channel. And we'll be catching you very, very soon. Peace.
We go, but in